Do you have FOMO when it comes to Bitcoin? I remember when I didn't have any Bitcoin, and the one thing that made me click buy for the very first time was fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Welcome to this episode of Sat Chats Short Stacks. Today we're going to be talking about FOMO. I think it's a pretty common feeling that people with no Bitcoin get when the price of Bitcoin starts going up like crazy and it's all over the place and you can't avoid it in the headlines. I remember that feeling well.
And not just FOMO, because I think everybody knows what that is, but how to deal with it.
Yeah.
What to do about it.
Yeah. I'll be your host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus and resident Bitcoin smash buyer.
And I'll be your co-host, Stewart, Bitcoin maxi. So I'm going to share how I deal with Bitcoin FOMO. Chris is going to share how he deals with Bitcoin FOMO. If you have any strategies, put them in the comments. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So when I'm having the fear of missing out on not anything, but Bitcoin for purposes of this conversation, if I can buy it, I just buy it.
You just let it happen.
So that I'm no longer missing out. And, the fear of missing out was intense when I had no Bitcoin because I was like, wow, I'm not in this game whatsoever. So the fear was dialed up to a level that I got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I bought some. And then it was like, well, I could buy more and I should buy more. And I did buy more. And I don't think I have a whole lot of FOMO now about Bitcoin. The only thing that I want is the only FOMO that's left is like, man, I want to go out and earn as much and save as much as I can to accumulate as much Bitcoin as I can. I have a fear that I won't be able to accumulate as much as I want.
Right. But contrast and compare the intensity of wanting to get Bitcoin for the first time when it was pumping from 60 up to $100,000 to the kind of FOMO you have now around just trying to stack more sats.
Yeah. It's way less. And I would also say the wrong thing to do with that FOMO is just ignore the feeling. Just like, oh, I have FOMO. I have fear around Bitcoin. So I'm just going to ignore it because it makes me feel gross. And I don't even want to go there. It's just, oh, well, I missed the boat.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't miss the boat. It's still so early. And the FOMO is not going to go away because the pumps are going to keep coming.
Think about when Bitcoin hits 1 million. The FOMO is going to be at a fever pitch.
We told you. We're telling you right now.
Yeah. And there's a fun meme that we should show on the live show where it's like, there's like 2 lemonade stands and one says Bitcoin 60K and one says Bitcoin 100K. And nobody is in line for the 60K lemonade and everybody is in line for the 100K.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how it works,
Yeah.
So Chris's strategy when it comes to dealing with Bitcoin FOMO is just to let it happen, right? Just go ahead and get in there. We're not recommending that you yeet yourself into everything that you feel FOMO about, but it turns out Bitcoin is worth getting into. So just go ahead and get into it. Now, what's the caveat?
Well, don't, you have to have a low time preference with the money that you put into Bitcoin. Don't take next month's rent and put it into Bitcoin because in the short term, it's volatile. It can go up, it can go down. It does go up, it does go down. And so if you have $1,000 that you need to pay rent with next month and you buy Bitcoin with it, you have to be okay with the reality that it might be the exchange rate next month when you need to pay rent might be 900.
Yeah.
But one thing you can be sure of, as sure as I can, no guarantees, right? But 99.9% sure, based on the history of Bitcoin, next year, in 2 years, that $1,000 will be worth 40 to 50% more
Mm-hmm.
than what it was when you bought the Bitcoin with it.
Chappie's in the back of your head making you say 99.9%. It's 100%, y'all. Okay. It is going up. And if you have FOMO to get in and you let it happen, just don't have FOMO to get out. Just understand that you're smashing into Bitcoin with whatever you have available and that you're going to hang in there.
Hang in.
And one thing you can do if you FOMO in and then you want to FOMO out is listen to Sat Chats instead. Okay. Every time you want to FOMO out, listen to Sat Chats. Find a question that is interesting to you and learn more on our short stacks, or find an episode of Sat Chats that has an interesting story and just listen to Bitcoiners who had what it took to hang in there until Bitcoin could deliver on its promise to them. Okay. So that's option one. Option two is to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So when I was first getting started with Bitcoin, I felt the same way Chris did. I felt like, oh my goodness, Bitcoin is 60,000. And when it broke up to like 72, and that was like the all-time high, I was like, dude, it's going to be $1 million. And I felt anxiety that my dollar cost average strategy was going to see me plinking along for a couple of weeks, only for it to go to the moon before I'm done with my dollar cost averaging. So first of all, I just had to try to practice some mastery over the self.
Yeah.
That's one option for dealing with Bitcoin FOMO. Master yourself. Okay. And dollar cost average into Bitcoin. Look at your budget. Do you want to buy? Can you afford $50 a month? Can you afford $50 a week? Can you afford $50 each day? That's kind of cool. And recognize that Bitcoin is going to do what it's going to do. And you just want to be getting as much of it as you can over time. Because what happened? It was March of last year. I was feeling a lot of FOMO. Bitcoin didn't really go on a tear until November. I actually had all the time I needed, and then some. Mm-hmm. So what I did was, to deal with my initial Chris style FOMO, I took 27% of what I wanted to put into Bitcoin as my initial position, and I just smashed it straight away so that I could feel like I had like grabbed a fat glob of Bitcoin. Then I took the remainder and I spaced it out over 3 or 4 months and just bought that much each week. And it kind of relieved the pressure each week to be like, okay, I got some more and we're still kind of here. And there were times where I became grateful for having mastered myself, because Bitcoin dipped into like the 58,000 range for a minute. And I had money to buy it at that level, because I was just doing it each week. So I got some here and here, you know, and then I was all locked in and ready to go. And then it pumped and I was like, ooh, right? But of course, I've been buying $50 a week the whole time. And it also helps you recognize that you're here, you're active, you're stacking sats. And no matter what happens to the price, you're going to be okay. So dollar cost averaging is a great way to remove the emotions from it and kind of just make it something that happens no matter what. So those were 2 options for dealing with Bitcoin FOMO. Let us know what your strategy is for dealing with Bitcoin FOMO in the comments. And don't forget to smash subscribe while you're there for your chance at 10 million sats.
10 million.
One excellent way to deal with Bitcoin FOMO is to just get millions of sats given to you.
I.e. just subscribe to Sat Chats, because you'll have a chance at that.
How to deal with Bitcoin FOMO? Subscribe to Sat Chats.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
Sat
yes.
Chats fixes this.
Yes. This has been another episode of Sat Chats Short Stacks. Thank you for joining us. And remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed for financial advice. Thank you.